Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know, my name is Faith and thank you so much for watching. Today we are going through my April reading wrap up. I had a really good reading month. Most of these books are 5 stars, not all, but most, so be prepared for some recommendations. And as always, there will be spoilers, so I'll put timestamps in the comments if you want to avoid those. Let's just get into it. My first read of April was Alive at Night by Amelie Reese. Guys, Amelie Reese is so underrated. I literally never see anybody talking about her, and it kind of is actually insane because what do you mean? Her books are incredible. Y'all need to read these. 11 at Night is the first book in the Wildflower series. Julian and Juniper just got hired at the same law firm, but guess what? They hate each other. You know what's even better about that? They have to share an office. Oh, also, Julian is Juniper's best friend's brother. Yeah, she stuffed so many tropes into this book. They all work so well together. It's so good, guys. If you like slow burn, guys, you will love this book. I've always been iffy about slow burn, and these books made me realize that maybe I just haven't been reading the right slow burns. The tension she builds before they get together is insane. It's so good, and they made me realize that I actually really do like slow burn. I like the build up to the relationship. I like when they realize their feelings. I just love it. This book, along with the rest of the books in the Wildflower series, are spicy, so if you don't like that, I probably wouldn't recommend them. Some of the spicy scenes do have actual plot points in them, so you kind of do need to read them, because if you skipped it, you'd probably be a little confused and you would actually miss parts of their relationship building. This book was 5 stars. I highly recommend it, just like every other book in this series. And seriously, Amelie Reese is so freaking underrated. After Alive at Night, I read the second book in the Wildflower series, which is Awake at Dawn. Guys, another 5 star. I know it's a very hit or miss trope. This book does have the pregnancy trope in it with like a little twist. It's not a one night stand. Gemma gets pregnant by her boss. She needs somewhere to live. One day she's coaching her figure skating class and Noah comes to pick up his niece Chloe, and Noah sees her and they start talking and he offers for her to go live with him. Noah has had a crush on Gemma ever since he met her back in college. Noah is friends with Julian from the first book, so that's how they met. As someone who's not a big fan of the pregnancy trope and as someone who doesn't really like to pick favorites, this one was probably my favorite in the series. I love this book. I love Noah London. If you like men obsessed with their women, every single one of these books you should read. Also, did I mention it's a sports romance? Noah plays football. Guys, I love sports romance. Sports romance might be my favorite type of romance ever. Something about an athlete I just love. Again, highly recommend this book. And then I took a little break from the Wildflower series to read perhaps one of the most disappointing books I've ever read in my entire life, Fearless by Lauren Roberts. I'm giving this book a 3 star. If you've watched any of my wrap-up videos, you probably know how generous I am when I give my star ratings, so when I say this is 3 stars, that is very generous. This book should have been 200 pages shorter. The first 100 pages, nothing happened. Nothing happened. It was so freaking boring. There was like a little bit in the middle that actually got interesting, and I was like, okay, the tides are turning, it's getting good, and then it just got boring again. The twist of Kit and Peyton being brother and sister, I did not like. I did not like at all. I also didn't like how for a brief period you assumed Peyton was the king's daughter, but you didn't know that Kai wasn't the king's son. So there's a brief little bit that in my head I was like, oh my god, Peyton and Kai are siblings. Thank god they ended up not being siblings, but you know who were siblings? Kit and Peyton. And you know what's nasty about that is that now if I ever wanted to go reread the series, I'd read Powerless and see Kit crushing on Peyton and be like, oh my god, dude, that's your sister. I thought the plot point of her going back into the trials and her having her own trials was so dumb. Honestly, I don't know why that decision was made, especially considering how boring the actual trials were. Going back into the trials had potential and it just was not used. Also, the character of Mac felt like it was completely wasted. This book was almost 600 pages and the actual points that could have been interesting, her going back into the trials, that did not take up much of this book. The entire book felt like they were just having the same conversation over and over again for 600 pages. The storyline of Kit going insane, I also didn't like that. I kind of liked the idea of him being jealous of Peyton and Kai's relationship, not because he liked Peyton, but because he wanted to be better brothers with Kai. I think that had potential. I don't think that the potential was met at all. The whole scene of Kit's death was so weird. You were supposed to dodge. It lacked so much. In the end, I forget her name. I think Blair. When Blair ended up being alive and her and Peyton exchanged some nod of acknowledgement, are you kidding me? That felt so unrealistic to me. If somebody murdered my best friend, I don't care what the reason was. She was in a game, she wanted to win. I don't care. There is nothing you could do that would make me have any sort of peaceful exchange with the person that killed her. Nothing. And there's nothing I wouldn't do to ensure that that person is miserable for the rest of their life. That felt so unnecessary to me. I understand the thing that, like, Peyton's not a killer, she didn't want to be a killer. That doesn't really matter to me, that she killed all these other people, but this one person that she actually had a reason to kill, she didn't die. I think she could have saved this book if she actually used the 600 pages better than she did. Like I said, the first 100 pages could have been cut down to 10 to 15. It was so unnecessary. And the actual interesting parts of the book, she spent like 1 or 2 chapters on. She took so much time at the beginning that she completely rushed the end, where so much happened at the end. She should have cut out half of the beginning and started the ending way sooner, actually spaced that out, and the pacing could have been significantly better. And I think that in the end, that would have made the book better. If you like this book, I'm so glad that this series for you can end on a high note. For me, it just couldn't, and I would not recommend this book to anybody. I couldn't even in good conscience recommend the first book anymore, because in my head I know that this series starts like this and just goes downhill from the first book. So after reading one of the worst books of the year so far for me, I went back to the Wildflower series and read the third and currently final installment, Attached at Heart. This book follows Delaney and Blake is Noah's brother, Noah from Awake at Dawn, if you remember. This book is a marriage of convenience, and I'm gonna be honest, that is one of my least favorite tropes to read. Honestly, I'm not sure why, but this book was done very well. This might be my favorite marriage of convenience that I've ever read. By no means is it insta love. It's again another very slow burn, but the plot starts very fast. As you can see from Fearless, I don't like when books take 50 to 100 pages to get to the point. It was done really well in my opinion. The pacing of all of her books are just done so well. They keep you engaged the entire time. And so it was nice to read this after reading Fearless, because again, Fearless's pacing was just so bad. This was just like a breath of fresh air after reading that. This book was, again, another 5 stars, and I would highly, highly, highly recommend it, just like the other 2 books in the series. I will admit, there was one scene that made me cringe really hard. It's towards the end, and it's during their love confession. She just starts dancing. I got such bad secondhand embarrassment, even though Blake loved it. Good for him. I cringed so hard. I get secondhand embarrassment so easily. Thinking about it makes me want to curl up and die. Oh my god, it made me cringe so hard. It was just a little teeny tiny moment, so I'm not gonna like rate the book lower because of that. So even with that in it, it's still 5 stars, and that was genuinely the only part that I was like, ooh, this could be cut out. Everything else about the book was 5 out of 5. It was incredible. I loved it. Moving into my last read of April, I finally read The Striker by Anna Huang. I'm gonna be honest, I was really scared to read this because I heard so many bad reviews about this. I said this earlier, I love sports romance. It's definitely my favorite type of romance to read, and I love Anna Huang. I love all of her books. She's who made me fall in love with the billionaire romance, so I was like, a sports romance from her? I'm gonna love this. So when everyone was saying it's not good, it's her worst book so far, I was really scared to read it. But then I read it and I was like, oh, I loved this book. I know I've mentioned this so many times, but I was in London last semester and I recognized so many of the places they went. She was like, I took Central Line. I took Central Line. I'm so excited for the second one. The second one is about Scarlett's brother and her friend, aka the coach's daughter. Guys, I'm so excited. It follows Asher and Scarlett. Asher was first mentioned in Twisted Hates, if I remember correctly. It might have been Twisted Games. I think it was Twisted Hate. So his book has been a long time coming. I don't think Scarlett's ever been mentioned before, but I really liked her character, and I loved Asher. I loved Asher, guys. I loved him. I loved him. I loved him. Even though I love sports romance, I think this is the first hockey romance. Even though I love sports romance, I think this is the first soccer romance that I've ever read, and I'm gonna be honest, I thought it was really good. Now, admittedly, I know nothing about soccer, so I don't know what in this book was real aspects of soccer and what wasn't, but Asher transferred teams, and there's this guy on the team named Vincent, and him and Asher hate each other, so they lose a championship game because they kept butting heads, and so their coach makes them do these ballet practices together. A lot of sports do actually recommend taking ballet for a lot of reasons. I do know that was a realistic part of the sports side. These ballet lessons are taught by Vincent's sister. Obviously, she's like, well, dude, my brother hates you, so, sucks to suck. I guess I have to hate you too. But they end up falling in love. Surprise, surprise. It's a romance book, guys. What do you expect to happen? I thought it was really good. So, another 5-star book. Guys, I had a really good reading month. If you take out Fearless, even with Fearless in there, it was good. Those are the 5 books that I read in April. I'm kind of scared for my May reading month. It's not my typical reading month at all. You should check out my last video, which is where I let a wheel choose my reads, which is why it's not a typical reading month. That being said, I'm starting with King of Envy by Anna Huang because I have been waiting for this book for so long. I love Vuck. Vuck was mentioned in The Striker, and I love that. I thought that was a special little treat for me. I'm now 20 books into my 43 book reading goal. If you ask why 43, that's such a weird number. It's because I always make it one book above what I read last year, and last year I read 42. So this year I'm going for 43. So far I am on track to hit that goal. That's all that I have for you guys today. I hope you all have a fantastic week. I love you guys. Bye.